Let's talk about Wilkin Formby, this four-star offensive tackle. He's from Tuscaloosa, but it appears that there's three schools that have kind of separated themselves. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Alabama, Auburn, and Ole Miss are the schools fighting for this kid. What do we know about him?
Yeah, another SEC West battle, because why not? This is an interesting offensive lineman who has really emerged as the premier tackle in the state of Alabama, which is a big deal because Stan Ramil at Thompson High School is another that has climbed the offer list. Clemson just offered him. He's been to Auburn a bunch as well. So those two are going to be heavyweight battles for Auburn, because you mentioned it, Zach. I mean, they've got to hit on the offensive tackle position. I think Formby is a little bit further in his evolution as a football player than Stanton, who's a little bit more raw. And I think that's what has so many programs excited about him. And I do envision it the same way you do. Bama, obviously being the local school, the hometown schools, absolutely in it. He's coached by a former Alabama player as well. But Auburn is in there as well. And Ole Miss already hosted him for a visit now, or an official visit, I should say. He's visited all these schools multiple times unofficially. So it depends on how you look on that Ole Miss visit, right? Is this a detriment, kind of having an official visit that's now a month old, or did the bar get set so high that Alabama and Auburn are now chasing for a Tuscaloosa kid, which sounds crazy as I say it. You just know the Iron Bowl schools are going to factor in before this thing's all said and done. I'm not sure if he's set all of his visits yet. I think Tennessee's trying to get one. I know Auburn and Bama should get one before all is said and done.
I think I saw that he's getting an official to Auburn on June 17th. I think is what I saw.
Good. Okay. So yeah, we knew it was being close to being set up, whether or not it had already gone public. So that's good news. Because he's taken multiple unofficials down to the plains. So I do think that's a great sign for Auburn staying in the thick of this thing. There is no doubt that between the three programs, Auburn needs offensive tackles the most. I spoke to an SEC coach who is recruiting him. So I'm obviously, keeping that on the low. That said, look, this kid could be a top 5 OT in the country. And this is a good year at that position. I like kids all over the country. And the stock up vibes around Formby are really strong at this point. I think he had a great junior season, but it appears like, and I didn't go by Northridge when I was up in Bama this week, it appears like everyone who's stopping by to see him, which includes these three schools, is like, we liked him on tape, but we like him more in person. And that is a great indication of a trajectory for an offensive tackle. So balanced kid, very comfortable in pass blocking, like most high school offensive linemen, very good run blocker, elite at the point of attack. So there's a lot to like on the field, but that opinion kind of universally, Zach, is increasing. So I think that puts more pressure on the in-state schools to keep him home. It will never be easy with a Tuscaloosa prospect, but hey, it worked out with Seth Williams, and and that was something that it was structured that way. Like he wanted to get out of that, as a part of his recruitment. I'm not saying it's the same deal with Formby, but it's not impossible either. Is I guess where I'm
Alabama wanted Seth Williams.
Absolutely, yeah.
Auburn won that battle for sure.
Right.
But I mean, John, this seems like a similar situation to what we were talking about a few weeks ago when Auburn having a decent chance to flip Jaleel Hurley from Alabama. And it's like, if Bryan Harsin can go into Tuscaloosa and get a 4-star offensive tackle, I mean, you just talk about winning over the fan base. I mean, what a big deal that would be.
Yeah, I think that'd be bigger than flipping Hurley in my mind, because it's I mean, Hurley's ranked higher and it was very good, and it still might happen. But I think with Formby, it's such a need for Auburn. Look, Auburn's secondary is in really good shape right now. This is probably, that corner group is probably the deepest group on the team. Without knowing as much as you do, I feel really good about it.
Up there.
Yeah. So Hurley would be a nice addition to that, and he would certainly play and factor in down the line, etc. But Formby is like, hey, you can go potentially play as a true freshman at Auburn against your hometown school. The fact that he is in Tuscaloosa, I think, just butters that bread even more. And this is one that Bama really wants too. So I do think that that would be optically as about as good as it could get for Auburn right now, as far as we can currently, look at this class of 2023. Flipping a rival recruit is always great, but pulling him from that school's hometown when they want him, I think, would feel even greater because it's an offensive tackle and because, like I said, everyone's opinion of this kid has really skyrocketed in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So I think down the line, that will look just as good if and when he makes a verbal commitment. So yeah, this is a huge. It's not a must get for Auburn because it's hard to say that for a kid from Tuscaloosa, but this is close to a must get. They have to. To me, they have to win one of these two in-state offensive tackle battles between Formby and Ramil. I
Yeah.
think they're higher on the board for Formby. And I think Auburn is higher on Formby than Ramil, like we are too. So I think he's certainly a spotlight recruit. And now that official visit is set, I think things are headed in the right direction for the Tigers. And Will Friend is one that he's spoken incredibly high of
Agreed.
multiple times in the last few months as well. So now more time with him, more time with that vision, and more time with a room of offensive tackles that are on the way out, and that's one a good selling point just in terms of the ability to play early, but two, it's good because those guys are experienced. They've been around forever, it seems like, so
Right.
they'll have every in and out of the Auburn program under the current regime and where the direction of the offense is headed, which I think is invaluable in trying to sell the next generation of prospect on where you want to go.